Are you moving from the public sector, higher education, military service, nonprofit work, or another mission driven environment into the private sector? If your answer is yes, then today's topic, ATS keywords without keyword stuffing, matters. The private sector reader may not understand your title, agency structure, pay grade, or internal process, but they can understand business problems, people problems, service problems, cost problems, risk problems, and results. That is the translation work that we are going to go do in this walkthrough. So, why does translation matter? The challenge is this: public sector titles and agency language hide strong experience from private sector recruiters. That does not mean that your experience is less valuable. It means that the language may be too internal for the reader. A private sector recruiter is usually scanning quickly. They're asking, can this person help our team move faster, serve better, reduce risk, improve quality, manage people, handle customers, or deliver results? Your materials need to answer that question without making them work too hard. So, there needs to be a context shift. Public sector work often values process, stewardship, compliance, fairness, and service. Private sector readers may value those things too, but they often listen for speed, scale, customer impact, revenue support, cost control, productivity, risk, and growth. Your job is not to abandon your values. Your job is to connect your values to outcomes that new audiences recognize. So, let me give you, let's say, a 3-step walkthrough to help you overcome these challenges. Step 1 is name the business equivalent. And that's naming the business equivalent of what you did. Do not start with the agency term. Start with the function. If you coordinated a public program, that may translate to program operations. If you handled compliance files, that may translate into regulatory documentation or audit readiness. If you served citizens, students, patients, or residents, that may translate to customer experience, stakeholder support, or service delivery. The words change, but guess what? The value stays the same. Step 2, add scale. And this is to recognize that private sector readers care about size because size helps them judge fit. Did you support 50 people, 500 people, or 5,000 people? Did you manage one site or several locations? Did you handle weekly reporting, quarterly reviews, or daily service volume? Scale helps the reader understand the weight of your work. Without scale, strong experience can look smaller than it really is. Then there's step 3, and that's to show the result. Here are 4 examples. A logistics coordinator matching vendor management with supplier scorecards. A school operations leader showing budget tracking through grant spending reports. A customer success specialist proving CRM by renewal and ticket data. A construction project assistant showing schedule coordination with milestone updates. These examples come from different fields on purpose. So, let's look at a before and after walkthrough. And it's going to be very simple. Before might read, responsible for coordinating services and preparing reports. That is accurate, but it's too flat. After should read, coordinated weekly service operations, tracked performance issues, and prepared leadership reports that improved visibility into delays and resource needs. The second version gives function, action, and value. It still sounds honest, but now it gives the private sector reader something to work with. Let's look at another example. The before statement worked with multiple departments to complete special projects. After statement reads, partnered with cross-functional teams to complete time-sensitive projects, clarify handoffs, and keep stakeholders aligned through status updates and issue tracking. This version works because it uses private sector language without exaggerating or trying too hard. It shows collaboration, project coordination, communication, and follow through. So where do you want to use this? Use this translation in 4 places. First, use it in your resume summary so the reader sees your direction. Second, use it in your top bullets so the proof appears early. Third, use it on LinkedIn so recruiters can find and understand you. Then, fourth, use it in interviews so your stories do not sound trapped inside your old organization's language. So, for you public to private pivoters, let's look at a couple of translation questions. Ask yourself 4 questions. First, what business problem was under the public sector task? Second, who benefited from the work? Third, what risk, cost, time, quality, service, or compliance issue was involved? Fourth, what words would a private sector employer use for that same kind of work? These questions help you move from internal language to market language. But before you rewrite anything, make a plain language note beside each line. For example, this was really about customer service. Or, this was really about process improvement. Next, it could be that this was really about vendor coordination. Or, this was really about data accuracy. Once you name the real function, the rewrite becomes so much easier. After your rewrite, read it out loud. If it still sounds like only your old organization would understand it, simplify it. If it sounds exaggerated, pull it back. Remember that the sweet spot is honest, clear, and relevant. You're not trying to impress by sounding corporate. You're trying to show how your experience creates value in a new setting. Now, my P2P pivoters, heed this warning. Do not erase your public sector background. That background is a part of your strength. But do not make the private sector reader decide it or decode it alone. Change the frame. Lead with the problem you solved, the people you served, the systems you improved, the risk you managed, or the results you helped create. So, I have an action step for you, sort of a mini homework assignment. Choose one section of your resume and translate 3 lines. For each line, write the original public sector version. Then, write the private sector version. Ask yourself, does this show function? Does it show scale? Does it show impact? Does it use language a recruiter would search for? If yes, you're moving in the right direction. So, my coaching note to you would be give yourself time to learn the new language. You're not starting over. You're learning how another market describes value. The first draft may feel awkward. That is normal. Translation takes practice. Read job postings. Listen to how people in your target industry speak and keep a list of phrases that match the work you have truly done. Then use those phrases with proof. That is how you build confidence without pretending to be someone you are not. A quick case study for you would be to let's imagine a public sector professional who coordinated a program, handled questions, tracked data, and prepared updates for leadership. In the old language, that might sound like routine administration. In private sector language, it may show program operations, stakeholder support, data tracking, reporting, and issue follow up. That is a very different impression. Nothing about the experience changed, but the frame did change. So, how do you practice this week? Choose one target job and collect 5 phrases from that posting. Then write beside each phrase where you have done similar work. If the phrase is process improvement, name the process. If the phrase is customer experience, name the people you served and the issue you solved. If the phrase is reporting, name the decision your report supported. This is how you move from hope to evidence. And take this confidence reminder with you. You may feel like you are behind because you're learning a new market language. You're not behind, though. You are translating. That is a skill. The more you practice, the faster you will see your own experience through the lens of the roles you want next. Keep the message clear, keep it honest, and keep connecting your past work to future value. And one public to private role targeting note for you is that You do not want to translate your background into every private sector role at once. Choose one target lane first. Maybe that lane is operations, or it might be compliance, training, project coordination, procurement, customer success, analytics, finance, or program management. Once the lane is clear, the translation becomes much easier. If the lane changes, the examples you feature may also change. This is not dishonesty. This is relevance. So when it comes to your interviewing, your interview preparation, let me help you with a public to private interview bridge. The same work also prepares you for your interview in the private sector. When someone asks, tell me about your background, you do not have to recite your entire public sector history. You can say, my background is in service operations, process improvement, stakeholder support, and compliance driven work. I'm now applying that experience to roles where I can improve systems, support teams, and deliver measurable outcomes. That answer gives direction. It also gives the interviewer a frame for the stories you want to tell next. So let's do a final check. Before you use the new wording, check for 3 things. Does it still tell the truth? And that is paramount. Does it sound like the target market? Does it connect your past to the employer's future need? And if all 3 of your answers to these questions are yes, the rewrite is doing its job. If the answer is no on any level, revise until it is clear, honest, and useful. So let's do a quick P2P recap. Here is what you need to do. Name the business function, add scale, show the result, use words the target market understands, keep the public sector truth, but remove the language barrier. That's how you make your experience easier to evaluate and easier to remember. If you want help with this process, use the ATS Keyword Map Worksheet, pair it with HRBN, Job Posting, and Fit Analyzer where appropriate. And if your full goal is a public to private career move, explore Career Search RX and the Public to Private Careers Transitions Program. Your background is not the obstacle. Untranslated language is the obstacle. Once you translate your value clearly, more doors can begin to make sense. So I want you to share this content with others who want to live their best career life, because my goal is to help you make a smooth transition from public sector to private sector. Also, give me a like if you found this content to be useful. Then, when you feel comfortable, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell so that you can be amongst the first to know when I drop new content, and you can continue to have my support along your public to private or P2P transition journey. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.